I'm a multi-millionaire. I didn't start from I didn't have when I started. And I can say I'm good for life now.
In the brutal world of mixed martial arts, few fighters carve a niche as distinct as Jorge Masvidal.
Is considered to be one of the most ferocious fucking animals of a human in the world.
You know what?
Known as Gamebred, this nickname isn't merely cool, it's a compact narrative of a journey sculpted in the furnace of combat, epitomizing a man destined to fight from birth.
I'm known I got one of the best sucker punches in the business.
That's not a good thing to be known for.
Hold on. We're gonna stop that Burger King, man.
His career, from scrappy backyards in Miami to the UFC's biggest stages, is like a real-life Rocky tale, filled with ambition, violence, and a spirit that refuses to give up, leaving a mark on the sport as indelible as a scar. In this video, we're going to peel back the layers from his youthful scrapping days, the roller coaster that is his UFC journey, to his most ferocious rivalry, and all the juicy bits sandwiched in between. This is the story of Jorge Masvidal. Born in Miami in November 1984, Jorge Masvidal is the proud son of two incredibly brave immigrants. His mom hailed from Peru, and get this, his dad? He made an epic 90-mile voyage from Cuba to the Bahamas, and from there to the United States using nothing but a self-made raft.
When he was 14, 15 years old, him, his best friend, and his best friend's uncle came up with a plan that they were going to escape. So they found a tire tractor, turned it into a raft, hit the sea. 7 days later, he landed to the Bahamas. From the Bahamas, he got extradited to the USA, straight to the projects, and began his journey here in America.
And all he knows is just street life from that time on, because he was in Section 8 housing, project housing. He was in the worst neighborhoods possible with no guidance whatsoever. So his life is something that was so impactful to me, just to hear it, like, man, good thing I don't gotta go through all that and you're here to guide me, you know. That's the reason why I'm here a lot of the times, you know.
It's clear where Jorge inherits his grit. Growing up, Masvidal moved around a lot with his mother.
Like, I'm very adaptable, you know, and that's since a kid I moved around a lot. I was always, for a long time, I was like the new kid in school.
His father was largely absent, serving an 18-year prison sentence for drug-related charges since Jorge was only 4 years old.
18 years straight?
18 years straight.
Wow.
Yeah. 18 and some change, because then after that, he's not American, so he's Cuban, so he doesn't get deported, so he's in another type of system for like another year. So really did a little bit more than that.
For years, he believed his dad was serving in the army, communicating only through phone calls, but by the time he hit 13, he figured out the real deal and started visiting his dad behind bars.
He would tell me things that from that side of the world only, you know, from that dark underground world, and how not to get there, and he would just lecture my mind of, once you get here, my son, this is quicksand. You're not gonna do anything in life. You're not gonna get a job. You're not gonna So it was very ingrained in me, going in the system, seeing how messed up it is, and then hearing it from him not to end up there. So I gotta thank my dad, you know, because if it wasn't for him, who knows, maybe I would have done some of the dumber things in life that I said, no, I'm not gonna be a part of it. I'm just gonna spend my Friday nights at the gym and get better at my technique, and 16 years later, I'm here, man.
At 14, Masvidal had already embraced the fighting spirit, dividing his time between boxing, karate, and high school wrestling.
No, I got into fighting because I loved it. It was like the only thing that tickled my pickle, you know, that I wanted to do. Like, I want to fight, you know. And it wasn't out of like machismo or something like that. It was just, I loved it. It's what I like to compete in, you know. Like, people play basketball, people would break dance. I'd put on the gloves and like box in the front yard, and that would get my adrenaline going. That was like the only thing that would keep me happy, you know?
Yeah.
His skill was evident in wrestling, but he didn't achieve the academic grades needed to qualify for the wrestling high school team.
And right around then, like, I fell in love with the sport of MMA, and I was like, this is what I want to do, you know? And I already knew, because I had had enough fights moving around growing up, that I was gifted with like the hands. So I would go to the gym, and I could immediately, like, somebody had been training like 2 years. If it was like boxing, I could like hang with him. I could do very well. Now, I didn't have the endurance because I was so like new to the game. And then I would talk to the coaches like, how do you not get tired? This is the crazy shit. It's like these guys run. You just started this thing, but these guys are like running in the morning. And that's where I learned discipline, you know.
Clearly, he had fighting in his DNA. A sideways glance or an unpleasant demeanor on the streets, and he was ready to step up.
But I'd always usually throw a first punch. I'm really known, like in my area of Westchester, Miami, Florida. I'm known I got one of the best sucker punches in the business, you know?
Sucker punches?
Sucker punches.
That's not a good thing to be known for.
Hell yeah, it is in the street, it is. If you're a real street dude, you know that you don't tell somebody, hey, me and you outside.
Sure.
You might get shot, you might get killed, you know? So you learn to have like a really good sucker punch and a really good 50-yard dash.
Fights in school, things like that, you know, and shit, I learned a lot, like, during that time, you know?
Like, I wasn't allowed to birthday parties and stuff. Like, my cousins' birthday parties, they wouldn't take me. They keep me, like, locked up. Yeah.
You were a troublemaker.
An insane amount of energy mixed with, like, bad intentions.
Street fighting also turned out to be an easy way for him to make some quick cash.
How it wasn't like official, but it was like, okay, you're from this neighborhood and you had like a friend that fought, and I'm from this neighborhood and my friend was like, man, my friend will kick your friend's ass. All right, let's put money on it. And then all your peoples would gather money, and then all my peoples would gather money, and then we were like, all right, we came up with $187.
Yeah.
Let's do this. And then that's it, the fight was on.
How old are you then?
When I started doing it?
Yeah.
I was young, I was like 14, 15.
Wow.
Yeah, it'd be like, I'd have McDonald's for like 3 months, you know?
What does that mean? Oh, the money that you want?
Hell yeah. My mom, I just give her like some money. She'd be like, are you selling drugs or anything?
This street fighter's trajectory took a turn when he crossed paths with the infamous Kimbo Slice. They attended the same gym, which led to Masvidal getting invites to fights in Slice's backyard.
At the time when I was like 16, 17 years old, Kimbo was training out of the same gym that I was training. And they had approached me like, hey, you be interested in doing some fights? I was like, hell yeah.
You've been around for a long time, my friend. I remember the first time I ever saw you fight, it was a backyard bare knuckle fight in the Kimbo Slice days.
There are videos on YouTube of his fights defeating Kimbo Slice's protege, Ray.
The fight that, you know, that was your big breakout was you against Ray, right?
Yeah, out of the street fights for sure.
Kimbo's protege?
Yes.
Is that, how old are you in that clip?
I think 18.
18. And he's a big deal, right? On the streets? Ish?
I didn't know him personally. I had just heard, like, before I fought him, like, watch out for this dude. He's got a good right hand. He laid a couple people out. I just saw, like, a big dude in front of me. I was like, he looks like a bodybuilder or some shit, you know? I was like, man, F him, you know?
At 18, he took his first professional mixed martial arts fight, winning with a first-round knockout. It was around this time that he met one of the most influential people in his life, Paulino Hernandez. At the time, Masvidal was mixing unsanctioned street fights with professional fights, and Hernandez, a well-known and respected trainer, thought this could damage his potential. He told Masvidal he should put the street fighting scene behind him and focus solely on being a professional fighter. Back then, MMA wasn't the massive sensation it is today. Many folks saw it as too brutal and couldn't really vibe with it. But Masvidal, heeding Hernandez's advice, decided to focus all his energy into his professional MMA career. He would embark on a journey across various promotions: Absolute Fighting Championship, Full Throttle, Strikeforce, and Bodog, to name a few. He was truly dedicated to the sport, and the MMA world took notice.
Remember Bodog fight? Yeah.
It was the golden ages.
The golden ages, man.
That was a while ago.
Damn, it's crazy. Like, Bodog fight was a fun organization.
was
Cain
super
Velasquez fought there. Chael Sonnen fought there.
Yeah. Eddie Alvarez.
That's right. Yeah. Fedor had a fight over there.
Fedor had a fight over there. Brad Pickett as well.
Yeah.
Mike Brown.
In the Bodog arena, Masvidal's striking prowess and tenacity were rigorously challenged by a roster of seasoned fighters. The battle against Yves Edwards, a seasoned warrior with a comprehensive game, is one that significantly stands out. Masvidal secured a knockout win delivered by a head kick in the second round. But to him, the battle against Edwards wasn't merely a measure of skill, it was first and foremost a mental ordeal.
I was scared, you know. All the guys that I found in my career, that was the guy that was giving me the butterflies, and I was like, fuck, man. I seen what he done to people. You know, he's a vicious individual, and he was like very bad style for me in many ways, you know.
Progressing through the ranks, Masvidal found his way to Strikeforce. Here, he refined his skills further against a superior grade of opposition. His duel with Gilbert Melendez for the lightweight crown, although resulting in a decision loss, exhibited his growth as a combatant. The match was a relentless exhibition of striking, grappling, and the unyielding spirit Masvidal epitomized. Although the title didn't fall into his hands, his performance further bolstered his rising reputation in the sport.
He just reacted well. He's a long guy, he's a tall guy, and he reacts fast. You know what I mean? And he's a sprawl and brawler. That's his thing. He likes to sprawl and brawl, keep it on his feet. That's where he feels his best. And that's the toughest matchup for me because I'm kind of the same. I'm a sprawl and brawler, and usually a guy that's a better striker, I'm going to take him down. And usually a guy that's a better wrestler, I'm going to sprawl him out. And this guy was a tough guy to take down. Ideally, it would have been nice to put him on his back.
Following the dissolution of Strikeforce in January 2013, Masvidal got swept up by the UFC. The stakes were higher, the lights brighter, the pressure stronger, and the opposition brutal. Masvidal stepped into the UFC scene against Tim Means in April 2013, marking his debut with a unanimous decision victory. The win was a solid start, but the real test came in his second UFC bout against Michael Chiesa in July. Michael entered the octagon riding a wave of 6 consecutive submission victories and was yet to taste defeat. Masvidal was the clear underdog. Contrary to expectations, Masvidal ran the show, manhandling his opponent around the octagon while stonewalling all of his takedown endeavors during the initial rounds. As the bout neared its end, Masvidal launched a submission attempt and forced his opponent to tap out, with only a second left on the clock. In November of the same year, Masvidal tasted the bitterness of defeat in a tight match against Rustam Khabilov. Though he lost via unanimous decision, the duel earned him his first Fight of the Night bonus award, hinting at the spectacle he brought to the cage. The tide turned in 2014 as Masvidal collected 3 consecutive decision wins. In early 2015, however, he faced off against Al Iaquinta in a match that Sherdog would award Robbery of the Year. Masvidal came out swinging, sending shockwaves in the first round with a barrage of right hooks that found their mark on his opponent's temple. A well-timed flying knee from Masvidal opened up a cut on Iaquinta's face, setting the tone for what was to come. By the round's end, Masvidal was dominating with a flurry of elbows and punches. In the second round, Iaquinta began to find his footing, although Masvidal continued to lead the dance in the striking department with his sharp jab and check hooks. Iaquinta absorbed a whopping 44 head strikes and was denied on each of his takedown attempts, with Gamebred shutting down a total of 9 across the round. Iaquinta found a rhythm in the final round, delivering a series of leg kicks that put Masvidal on notice. By the end of the fight, 13 out of 15 media outlets scored the contest in favor of Jorge Masvidal. The judges did not agree and gave the decision to Al Iaquinta.
Are you guys booing me? Are you guys? You better not boo me. I tore my off. You. I tore my off tonight.
I was looking at the punch stats, the strike stats. I threw more. I landed at a much higher percentage of what I threw. The percentage weren't even close, and I threw even more. So when people saying that he was more active, how though? What are you calling? If you're just swinging at the air.
3 months after the Iaquinta bout, Masvidal rolled the dice, stepping up to welterweight to face off against Cesar Ferreira. His gamble paid dividends as he floored the Brazilian in the first round, notching a knockout victory and pocketing a Performance of the Night bonus. Fast forward to November, Masvidal was back in the cage, this time locking horns with Benson Henderson. The clash was a masterclass in MMA, reflecting the zenith of combat when fought at an elite level. Both fighters, skilled across multiple disciplines, orchestrated a pugilistic ballet with Henderson edging out in speed and precision. Though no cataclysmic strikes were landed, Henderson's right hand did find its mark in the first round, unsteadying Masvidal, who was mid-kick. The drama peaked in the 5th round when Masvidal secured a guillotine choke that had Henderson scrambling. However, Henderson's adept submission defense saw him wriggle free. Despite his prowess, Masvidal back then was somewhat of an unsung hero in the UFC, often overlooked amidst the elite and mislabeled as a mere street brawler. His major hiccup was perhaps his tendency to let fights go the distance, leaving his fate in the hands of the judges, a scenario that often didn't play in his favor, just like in this bout, which he lost via decision to Henderson. He then fought against Larkin at UFC Fight Night 88 in May 2016. It was a grinding affair, but the judge's nod went to Larkin, marking another decision loss for Masvidal. But fate had a different script in July, where the judges awarded him a decision win against Ross Pearson, a sweet reversal of fortune. December rolled in with a strange bout against Jake Ellenberger at the Ultimate Fighter 24 finale. The fight took an odd turn in the dying minute of the first round, when Ellenberger's toe got lodged in the fence during a leaping knee attempt. Masvidal capitalized on his opponent's misfortune, unloading strikes as Ellenberger scrambled to free his foot. Initially, referee Herb Dean signaled for a timeout, but upon assessing the circumstances, he declared a TKO victory for Masvidal.
Did a part of you feel a little unfulfilled because of because you were doing so well, and now people have something to talk about at the end and saying like, oh, if that didn't happen, he would have maybe come back and won the fight, as opposed to a clean finish, no questions asked?
Not really. I mean, everybody, it's a fight. Everybody can make up their own conclusions as fans, you know? Now, what's weird is just like some of the media, some of the racist media that I hear sometimes, that to that point, they were saying the fight was back and forth.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I never got hit. I never got dropped. I never got taken down. I don't even think I took like a solid hit to the dome piece, you know? Like I never got hit. And it's hard to find that footage of where the fight was back and forth. So I'm like, you can say whatever you want, but you can't say the fight was competitive, you know?
On the heels of these 2 straight wins, Masvidal faced Donald Cerrone in January 2017. Cerrone's friendly demeanor during fight week, filled with smiles and handshakes, was a stark contrast to the animosity Masvidal held for him, vowing to break his face in the bout. The fight commenced with Cerrone exhibiting a composed game, landing kicks on Masvidal, who responded with a series of hard punches. Cowboy seemed to control the early exchanges, but Masvidal flipped the script as the first round neared its end. A counter right-left combo from Masvidal sent his opponent tumbling, with a barrage following, and the referee stepping in just as the bell rang.
Comes in and stops the fight.
Masvidal stormed into the second round. A flurry of kicks, knees, and an overhand right sent Cerrone to the canvas again. The onslaught proved too much, forcing the referee to call off the fight a minute into the round.
Jorge, Gamebred, Masvidal.
This win stretched Masvidal's victory streak to 3, positioning him as a burgeoning force in the UFC welterweight arena. But things would soon change for the worse. In May 2017, the Octagon staged a clash of styles as Masvidal faced the grappling maestro Demian Maia. Throughout the 3-round encounter, Maia's grappling prowess cast a shadow, offering Masvidal mere slivers of opportunities to unleash his offense, which he seized to keep the scorecards close. During the match, Masvidal struggled against Maia's dominant skills, although he lasted until the end, showing great resilience. However, Maia won by split decision.
Congratulations. You faced a very crafty, very skillful opponent. Was there anything in this fight that surprised you?
Very much. I thought he was easier to take down.
and he was easier to submit, but actually he's one of the best jiu-jitsu fighters that I ever fought in the UFC.
Masvidal faced Stephen Thompson next, a top striker aiming to bounce back from a loss to Tyron Woodley. Both fighters saw this as a chance for redemption. Thompson's superior striking was clear as he consistently landed powerful kicks and punches. In the second round, Thompson knocked down Masvidal with a right hook, but graciously allowed him to recover. Though Masvidal fought back, Thompson dominated the exchanges and ultimately won by unanimous decision. On a 2-fight losing streak and disillusioned with both his life and career, Masvidal took a sabbatical from the sport, during which he spent some time on the Exathlon Estados Unidos reality TV show. The participants on the show were split into 2 teams, red and blue, and had to compete in various athletic challenges during the show. Jorge Masvidal was part of the red team called Famous. Contestants were not allowed to have a phone, TV, or contact with the outside world. With time spent in nature and all the hours to himself thanks to the show, Masvidal had time to reflect on his fighting career and the surplus of decision losses and wins on his record. After his reality show stint, he tweaked his training regimen, infusing new elements he deemed crucial to reach a higher level. And finally, in March 2019, following a 16-month break, he made a notable return to the octagon against Darren Till. Entering the hostile domain of London for the face-off against Till, Masvidal was deemed by many as a sacrificial lamb to give Till an easy win in front of his hometown crowd. However, the script took an unexpected turn when Masvidal, embodying the quintessence of an underdog, delivered a knockout that left Till sprawled on the canvas in the second round. This stunning victory not only marked Masvidal's emphatic return, but also earned him Fight of the Night and Performance of the Night bonus awards.
Me and my coach, he's the one that'll do like all the technique. The guy that I've been with forever, Paulino Hernandez, I think the greatest striking coach ever. He showed me like, hey, let's do this, you know. And I was like, oh man, I don't want to do new techniques. Come on, let's just do it, you know. And then we started doing it. And this was like a while ago. And then for this fight, and I had stopped doing it, you know, because a lot of techniques, we work them a lot. When he brings me a technique to the table, we're going to rep it out 1,000 times in a week. And the next week, the same thing till he feels that I got it. And then it'll be like, all right, cool. It's there in the tool shed. When we need it, we'll polish it up. So for this fight, he's like, hey, remember that technique? Let's bring it. I think it'll work here. I go, man, but he's a southpaw. He's like, I'm telling you, the way he's moving, the way he's, you know, fighting with you, it's going to work. So we started doing it, and boom, money.
His next fight came against promotional newcomer Ben Askren. Askren was an undefeated phenom from the world of freestyle wrestling. Furthermore, he had held the welterweight title at both Bellator and One Championship. Right off the bat, both fighters plunged into the fray, but it was Masvidal who seized the moment. As Askren lunged for a takedown, Masvidal unleashed a ferocious flying knee, meeting Askren's head and ending the contest merely 5 seconds into the first round.
Does it make you feel better at all having it been Masvidal, who is considered to be one of the most ferocious fucking animals of a human in the world?
You know what? No, I don't dislike him that much, but I also don't like him that much. I'm kind of like in the middle on him.
But you respect him as a fighter?
Yeah. So yeah, as a fighter, yes. But you know, I guess I like Robbie Lawler. I like a lot more. You know, I like him a lot. I wish it was nobody, obviously. Right, I wish it was, and if I win that fight, then I'm fighting for the world title next. And so, yeah, I mean, listen, things like that happen in your career, and I went 10 years without getting rocked or getting hurt, or really everything went my way for a decade. So, I mean, sometimes shit doesn't go your way. That's it.
This blitz secured Masvidal the fastest knockout accolade in UFC's storied history. The victory not only fetched him the Performance of the Night award, but also resonated across the MMA community, earning him the esteemed 2019 Knockout of the Year honors for from numerous MMA media outlets.
The beautiful thing about the way you knocked him out is you preyed on his instincts. You went at an angle and then right to him, and his instinct was just automatically to grab you. I mean, that is one of the most iconic photos in the history of the fucking sport.
And this finally takes us to November 2019 for an historic matchup against Nate Diaz.
All that matters is I came with the greatest fighter of all time, Nick Diaz. And I got the Nick Diaz Army with me. We're here to take motherfuckers out.
Nate Diaz, ladies and gentlemen.
A quick background story. In August that year, Diaz had won against former lightweight champion Anthony Pettis after a 3-year hiatus from fighting. During his post-fight interview, Nate proclaimed himself the baddest motherfucker in the game and challenged Masvidal to a fight.
Jorge Masvidal had a good last fight.
The UFC not only orchestrated the fight, but elevated the stakes by introducing the BMF title. With this new iconic title on the line, the stage had to match the grandeur of the occasion. And what better arena than the revered Madison Square Garden to host UFC 244 in November 2019.
Here we go.
For as long as his bout with Nate lasted, Masvidal was dominant. He battered, bloodied, and dropped him. By the third round, a cut above Nate's head got wide enough for the cage-side doctor to wave off the fight.
The doctor's waving it off.
No way. What?
Wow.
While Nate protested, Masvidal celebrated as the promotion's first ever BMF champion.
Were you at any point concerned that the eye was going to threaten the fight continuing?
No, I thought it was the same story as every fight. I've been cutting my last 5 fights in the same eye, probably 10 fights.
Are you disappointed with the way they stopped it?
For a fact, I told Nate right now, I swear on it, we're running it back, man. You gave me the love, I'm gonna give it right back. UFC lets it happen, just run it back. I don't like to leave the ring like this with my opponent conscious. There's only one way to do it, and that's to baptize him. I didn't get to baptize Nate, so we're gonna run it back. On a personal though, I wanna thank America's top team.
Now, on a 3-fight win streak, it was time for him to fulfill his dream by fighting for the UFC welterweight title in a match against Kamaru Usman. The odds were stacked against Masvidal from the get-go as he took up the fight on a whisker's notice. Gilbert Burns was the name originally on the marquee to challenge Usman, but the script flipped when Burns bowed out due to a COVID-19 positive test, a mere 6 days before the showdown. Amidst the ticking clock and mounting pressure, Masvidal rose to the occasion, stepping into the cage with scant preparation but unbroken spirit. Keep in mind, he also needed to cut 20 pounds in 5 days to make weight. Masvidal started strong, launching a series of attacks, but Usman patiently countered, catching a leg kick to take the fight to the ground. From then on, he continued pressing forward, keeping Jorge under continuous pressure. As the fight progressed, Masvidal's energy waned, making it easier for his opponent to maintain control.
Is it effective? Yes. Will it help him retain?
In the final round, Usman's ground superiority shone through as he took down Masvidal again, steering the fight to a unanimous decision in his favor.
He stuck to the game plan, fought a beautiful fight, was able to wear me out, was able to take my explosiveness away. I'm not going to make excuses, but I'm going to get on the winning track and fight him with a full camp, 7-8 weeks to prepare for him and make the weight cut smooth and give him my all once again. I know after going with
a year later, in April 2021 at UFC 261, they faced off again. With a full training camp behind him, Masvidal was ready for the rematch. Usman, equally prepared, aimed to prove his previous win wasn't just luck. As round 2 commenced, the Nigerian Nightmare landed a ferocious right hand, knocking Masvidal out cold, marking a highlight reel knockout for the year. It was a triumphant moment for Usman, who defended his title and showcased a commanding dominance in their rivalry. Fucking Joe Rogan, man. And look at that face.
It hurts. I've never been knocked out in 50 pro fights. He won this fair and square, and God bless him, man.
Classy in defeat, sir.
As the calendar flipped to March 2022, Masvidal was back in the octagonal limelight, this time locking horns with Colby Covington in a bout marinated with personal vendettas. The roots of this grudge trace back to the early days when Covington, riding the high of a stellar wrestling stint at Oregon State University, ventured into the professional mixed martial arts realm. His journey led him to the doors of American Top Team in South Florida, where Jorge was training. The duo struck a chord instantly, leading not only to relentless training sessions together, but also to move in together and share an apartment.
For fantasy league, it's bro, when the camera comes out. For real, do it again. Come on, you can do it.
Things, however, turned sour after a while, but depending on who you ask, the versions might vary. Allegedly, at the heart of the fallout was money. More specifically, a purported unpaid sum from Covington to Masvidal's trusted striking coach, Paulino Hernandez. See, when Covington got to the UFC, Hernandez became his full-time coach and cornerman. According to Hernandez, they agreed on Covington paying him 5% of his purse. It was a verbal gentleman's agreement with no official contract. Allegedly, Covington initially adhered to this agreement, but as the story goes, there came a point when he didn't.
Bueno, yo no tengo nada en contra de él. A mí, lo único que tengo en contra de él es que en la última pelea que yo le entrené, que fue la pelea por el título interino contra Rafael 2 años, quedamos en un pago y él no cumplió el pago. Entonces, de ahí fue donde vino, creo, la inamistad de Jorge a él, después de recibir tanta ayuda de parte mía y de parte de él, de que él no cumplió con su parte, con su trato. Entonces,
for Jorge, this financial dispute was the tipping point, severing the ties of friendship with Covington. However, he had already perceived certain things that didn't sit well with him.
He broke his hand. His girlfriend had fucking kicked him out of the place because he had given her fucking herpes and shit. No, I'm dead ass serious. So he had like nowhere to fucking live. So he asked if he could crash on my couch. I was like, yeah, fuck it, bro. We're both on this journey together. We train together. We play poker together. Fucking this and that. So I basically fed this dude for a fucking year. Lived on my couch. Didn't give me a fucking dollar because he didn't have a job. I had a fucking broken hand. It's all documented. It's all him on YouTube saying, Jorge Masvidal was my best friend. If it wasn't for Jorge, I wouldn't be here. And this and that. And then, you know, I'm at 155. So then I come up to 170 and I start stealing a lot of, not stealing, but I start getting a lot of shine for myself. A lot of eyeballs start looking at me. And immediately, instead of like, yeah, we're fucking boys, we could fight or whatever the fuck, he turns into something fucking ugly, you know, like everything that I did for you, you're trying to use it against me, especially my kids. He knows the relationship I have with my kids, and you're trying to use that against me. You're a fucking piece of shit. My striking coach, this is when we cut ties, me and him. My striking coach trained him from his amateur all the way to his Rafael 2 años fight. And he did a handshake deal with him, 5% on your fights. You know, if you make $1,000, you make $500,000. 5% is what you're going to pay me, because that's what Joel Romero pays me. That's what Jorge Masvidal pays me. That's what all the guys that train with him pay him, you know, and he's like accessible at all times. He will drive an hour this way, drive an hour back that way, and just give you all his knowledge. And that's what he wanted, you know. And they shook hands on it. As soon as Kobe made money, what did he do? Didn't pay my coach.
On the flip side, Covington's recounting of events paints a different picture, as he believes his former friend simply got jealous of his success.
Everybody wants to see you doing well, but until someone starts doing better than you in life, then you know, they get jealous. And that's exactly what he got. He got jealous. He got envious of my success, that I was rising up. He didn't like the attention I was getting in the gym and getting in the UFC, and how he was always having to talk to me in interviews. So, you know, he turned his back on me. He started talking shit in the media to me first. And naturally, I'm gonna defend myself. I'm not just gonna let you talk recklessly in the media about me and defend myself. I didn't even have to pay any money to this striking coach, Paulino Hernandez. So these claims are false. It's fake news. It's a lie.
One way or the other, the two fighters entered UFC 272 hating each other.
This is a personal fight. I want to come put on a show to the UFC and show that
that I'm deserving of being a lifetime UFC fighter.
Just
Make sure you show up, bitch. I lived in Maritza's house. I didn't live in your house, bitch. Maritza paid the motherfucking bills.
My house.
Your children.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Forget about your children, you
my
deadbeat
girlfriend.
motherfucking dad.
Look at
Hey,
that
you still
cheap-
got your Obama phone?
that cheap
You
shit.
still got your Obama phone?
I had an Obama phone.
Yeah, you fucking did, you
Yeah,
lying
tell
ass
me.
piece of shit. You're a lying ass piece of shit, bitch.
Amid all the pre-fight intensity, it's easy to forget that a friendship was lost. But when you really think about it, that's kind of sad. The fight kicked off with Masvidal launching a flying front kick, echoing his famed flying knee maneuver against Ben Askren. The attempt didn't hit home, prompting Covington to seize the moment with an early takedown bid. Though Masvidal thwarted the initial onslaught, a fair chunk of the opening round saw him on the back foot, either fending off Covington or grappling on the mat. In the second round, Masvidal got into a groove, landing leg kicks and stringing together strikes that pushed Covington back, eventually taking him down. However, choosing to engage Covington on the ground proved to be a misstep. Covington skillfully switched positions, threatening Masvidal with a choke. While the choke missed its mark, it allowed Covington to land a flurry of punches as the round ended, swinging the momentum his way. Covington, known for his relentless wrestling and solid striking, showcased his skills in a repetitive display over 5 rounds. With each round, Covington's continuous pressure told a story of dominance. As the fight ended, it was clear Covington had controlled the octagon. The judges unanimously agreed, awarding him a decisive victory in a show of tactical expertise.
What are the emotions for you like right now?
I felt like on the feet I definitely did the more damage, but it's a fight and I mean shit, man. If I could do it all over again, I would have gone to college and wrestled my ass off, got my grades up, and be able to stuff all these guys up and then just keep it on the feet. But I was just flat on the wrestling, brother.
Less than a month post their UFC showdown, Masvidal found himself embroiled in legal trouble, facing felony battery charges following an alleged altercation with Covington outside a Miami Beach eatery, Poppy Steak.
Was Colby Covington ambushed? When this story first happened, people may have said, what was this? Was it a publicity stunt? I can tell you, we have spoken to Miami Beach police, and they are taking this very seriously.
According to Covington, he was caught off guard as he was leaving the restaurant when Masvidal came out of nowhere to launch a surprise attack and hit him in the face twice. Covington depicted Masvidal's attire as a blue surgical mask, a hoodie, and sweatpants, a detail of significance, as Florida law stipulates that an aggravated battery charge can jump from a second to a first-degree felony if the assailant wore a disguise to conceal identity. Although Masvidal pled not guilty to the serious allegations, he was issued a restraining order that dictated him to maintain a distance of at least 25 feet from Covington, 500 feet from his residence, and barred any form of communication.
Yeah, hold on. I'm away already. It's been a while. It's been a good streak. I promised myself never again, but here I am.
Masvidal's fighting saga came to a close in April 2023. Post a decision loss to Gilbert Burns, he hung up his gloves, drawing the curtain on a fighting career speckled with ups and downs, both inside and outside the cage.
Thank you everybody for watching, but this is where I started my career now. It's been a long 20 years, 50-something fights.
His transition from Street Jesus to Gamebred chronicled a man who evolved with the sport, always staying true to his roots while adapting to the demanding and ever-evolving arena of mixed martial arts. Though his career had its share of controversies, the resonance of his bouts, his contributions to the sport's popularity, and his sheer love for the fight game cannot be understated.
UFC came here 20 years ago to chase this dream for 20 years, 50-some fights later. Hopefully I inspired somebody in here to go fight for theirs. No matter what it is, if it's in the sports world, if it's in the entertainment world, if it's in whatever world, the 9 to 5.
His iconic 5-second flying knee knockout of Ben Askren will forever be etched in the annals of combat sports, immortalizing Gamebred in a moment of sheer audacity and precision.
I love everybody. I love this sport.
Though Masvidal has hung up his gloves, the legacy of Gamebred continues to inspire, reminding us all of the undomitable spirit of a true fighter.
I'm a multi-millionaire. I didn't start from I didn't have when I started. And I can say I'm good for life now.